Welcome everybody to this 12th edition of our Hangout. As kind of always, your guests are Romans and myself, Armin, so I'm back after 2 weeks missing. And the agenda for today. First of all, we want to start by migrating the 4.2.1 version to a GitHub version. Many issues are resolved in the GitHub version, and if there are no releases for a long time, often you should go to GitHub to see the latest version there. We then will continue by looking inside CMS integration. The CMS is an add-on, and we will go through the steps of setting it up. Also, we will include a Filestore setup that is useful for image uploads and thumbnails. And then once that's complete, we will build an integration between a slideshow jQuery widget. We do a little bit with the model data, with condition, integrating the stuff with Filestore, use expressions, and pack it up as a CMS component. And that's what is the plan today, and I'd like to hand it over to Romans.
Hi everyone, and thanks for joining this podcast. Okay, so let me go straight ahead and do a short review, as I usually do, of our projects here. So we can log in as usual. And if you remember that last time we have implemented autocomplete fields for reporting an item. The field was fixed by some contributors from through GitHub, and it's really good. So all I did is I published the add-on, and other people contributed fixes, which I'm really excited about, and it works well. But unfortunately, this thing came up. So that's a bug in Agile Toolkit 4.2.1, and it is being resolved in the GitHub, but because there is no 4.2.2 version release yet, I'll show you how we can switch to a GitHub version and do not lose before the release and enjoy the latest version of GitHub. Agile Toolkit GitHub is located 80k4/80k4. Yeah, here you can see all the repositories, and that's what we need. We typically need simply this one, and this time I also wanted to show how to use a command line to work with Git. So that's our the folder, and there are two subfolders here, 80k4 and 80k addons, which we need to replace with the newest one. And remember I said earlier on that we do not do any modifications in 80k4. The reason is so we could remove them at any point, and that's what I'm going to do now. And it's gone. Obviously our project wouldn't be working anymore. So next thing I'm doing is called git cloning. I need to type git clone and the name of this repository. This recreates 80k4 folder. Shortly followed by addons. So this is a centralized set of add-ons. If you compare what was inside the version 4.2 and this one, you will notice there are many more add-ons in this folder. Okay, so we're on version 4.2.2 right now, and as you see, this glitch is gone. So right now, autocompletes work fine, and that's it. Yeah, so works good. Our first task is done. We have migrated to version 4.2.2. Usually there are nothing or very minor things I need to do with the code, and they are typically in the release notes anyway. But if you are following the developer community and subscribe to our mailing list, you typically would be working from the GitHub anyway, and you would know what happens. It is pretty stable. I must say that the master is pretty stable, and you are okay to use it. So the next thing we need is this CMS thing. I must say that CMS was donated by one of the developer companies working on Agile Toolkit, called Ambient. And some of you might know the guy from behind this company. His name is Yanis. He's not appearing in our screencasts only because this time is not convenient for him, but he would love to join. And the contributed add-ons are located in a weird place. /ambient addons. So I was kind of helping them to publish the add-ons. I also see other suppliers committing to release more add-ons. If you remember Marco from three Hangouts before, he's also getting his add-ons ready and should contribute them either this week or next week. Anyway, so this is the CMS add-on over here, and below are the installation instructions for the CMS add-on. Let's start by cloning it. Again, I need this folder over here. I prefer to use a command line for add-ons because it's more flexible in the way how you can arrange things. And also, if you remember, last time we created a folder called My Add-ons. If we clone ambient add-ons as well, we are going to have 3 folders now containing the add-ons. And I suppose that's fine. You can place them or use symlinks. It's entirely up to you how you organize your structure. We have CMS, what I will be showing today. We also have forum and transactional classes. I will not look into forum and transactional classes. Maybe there's going to be a blog post about those. I will only look inside the CMS. And the CMS contains a README file, which I'm going to open, and we'll simply follow the README file. Okay, it's slightly more steps than usual, but I will explain each step and what does it do. First, they are asking us to set up the folder to be included, and we're doing that in a front-end class. We already have my add-ons in here, so something like that would be needed, but because arrays in Agile Toolkit do not allow duplication of keys, we'll need to organize it like this. Which means we are adding a location with 2 folders for add-ons. So that step is done. Going ahead, okay. I just deleted files and documents were open. Next it says I need to import migration scripts. And again, this time I would like to use the command line utility, but I will also show you what's inside my database at the moment. So there's a doc folder and there are some CMS files. I can either do it manually like this, or use the update script provided with Agile Toolkit. It doesn't matter. Important thing that I run them and it creates a number of tables which are necessary for the CMS. Okay, now next thing, and as you see, the next thing is to create a controller. Sorry, I think I skipped step 2 and I'm step number 3, so I'm going to go back. So sometime probably around here I need to add the CMS controller. Let me take a look what happens with this, with the front end right now. Okay, it says unable to include. That's because we should move that before. Okay, so nothing really changed. The CMS controller only starts working when the page is really a CMS page. It's not introducing too much overheads. Let's go to the next step and see what next needs to be done. So just create a page /CMS and extend it from the CMS core. Fine.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, that's done. On to the next step. Create CMS frame. Okay, again there's a typo here, and which is CMS frame. So what these pages really do is they help us edit the content. So whenever user is going to edit content on the page, he would be using these frames. And we also need a menu item for CMS management, leading to the CMS. And we do have menu item. It's an admin item, so we'll add here. Let's see if that works. Manage CMS. Nope, it's blank. I think that needs to be a different class. Right, CMS admin, and that's the last page we're going to add. And I need to fix it to CMS admin. Okay, so that's probably all we need to do for the installation at this moment. There is also the token management. So I will add it. Let's say config. This trip. Okay, so let me review a little bit about the structure. And so what I have here is pretty much resembles the same tables in a database. It allows me to route things in here. So define how pages are routed to CMS, or I could say all the pages are routed. It also allows me to create individual pages. Let's see how the page are created. Page. No, I need to do this first. Switch on CMS. There's a redirect in here. Which does it slightly incorrectly. Okay, so that basically that page launches our CMS mode, and it destroys the session and uses the token to redirect. This is built for when we have a front end and the backend, and the backend is sitting inside admin subdirectory, and then launching the CMS on the backend will go to the front end, pass in a token of authentication, which not pass the token but initialize the authentication class from the front end web with the same token and memorize this. But just for simplicity, I'll simply do the memorize and simply do it like that. Okay, so individual add-ons might take some time to install, and if there are any, okay, if there are any problems with that, you can use issue tracker and report them. Okay, let's see if that is working. So we need to create a new page, CMS/test. Okay, we're missing a CMS CSS here. Okay, probably a missing step is to include the templates as well. Damn it. There are more things missing. Yay, okay. So now you see I have opened the page which doesn't exist really, and now we are in control of the CMS, and it says the page does not exist, would like to create that. Okay, let's create that. So we have a blank page now. On this page, as you know, there are things like spots in Agile Toolkit, and CMS reuses this concept, and it allows us to use this user interface and add certain object inside spots. It will also remember their positioning, and will display them later on. Welcome text. By default, there are only two components defined for this. One is text, another is CRUD. So I'm going to use text. And create, welcome, good. Let's close this page. Right, now we need to define this as well. Okay, so it offered me to a selection between two components, and these components are defined as component types. The add-on have just migrated from older version to the new version, so as you know, classes should be prepended with a CMS in front, and that's why I'm getting this error that it's unable to include the class. Okay, now back to our previous page. CMS test. Okay, so we have now a welcome thing in here. I can click on edit welcome and I can put any text in here. Test. And it appears here as a plain text. I can include another add-on, another component here. Again, pick which type, click create. Now I have 2 of them. I can reorder them if I want to. If I close, I can edit each text individually. So the text is really the most basic component for our CMS, but it shows you the concept. So the main concept is that we are editing CMS on the page. And also the Agile Toolkit is not like an extension of CMS. It is that CMS which is the extension of Agile Toolkit. Let me go back to the Manage CMS and again talk you through different components. So first, the routing. The routing means which pages will be detectable by CMS controller. And by default, those are all the pages starting with CMS. But you could define like all the pages or some other routes in here. Next is the component. So we have created 2 components. Each component encodes its content and saves in this parameter here in this model. Next we have component types, which is was predefined initially. I only had to add the correct class in here. Then we have just created a single page, which is CMS/test. Along the way, we might create additional pages. Even you don't need to work with files at all. You just pages are created as necessary. Plus, I can see what components are on each page, even here. Or this is a full list of components. And finally, tags. I'm not sure what tags do. And that's our CMS. That's the capability of CMS. It's really simple. It fills the gap when user needs to have some sort of CMS, and it works pretty well. Let me also show you how we can add additional components. So there are more than 2 components. Only 2 components are initialized in the database, but there are more. If we go inside CMS/lib and then CMS again, these are the components which are available. Of course, you can develop your own components, and hopefully we will show you at the end of the screencast how to develop your own component. Let's say we want to have an HTML component. Okay, so that's how the component is implemented. We will look into that later. For now, I need define a new component type. The name I can use something my client would understand. What you see is what you get. CMS and the class. Okay, now back to the testing page. And I can add, okay, let's delete this text and add a new spot. Let's call it article. And as you can see, there is this new component defined here. Okay, closing the window. I can now edit article. Okay, I need to include the JavaScript folder in here as well. We will update the installation instructions, so you don't need to worry about all of these steps. Oh yes, okay, of course, GS. Okay, nope. and it works. So this is a standard CMS, ELRT, I think it's called, and I can use all sorts of things in here. Unfortunately, I think there are no perfect editor for editing text like that, but no, we just use whatever is out there, and that's how it works. So, I mean, you could easily embed the whole thing, and the setup is pretty quick. So, so that's about it. I will look into that more later. Just one final thing I need to note about enabling this. If you remember, I made the changes to this file, and I changed. So those are the application-wide session variables. It enables editing, and the second one sets the level to dev. If I switch this to true, as this note suggests, I will be using in the lightweight. The CMS will work in a lightweight mode. Okay, so I go to manage CMS, I click go CMS, click go button, and navigate to a page which does have content. Now, as you can see, there is only exit button. There are no edit content button. Plus, I can change these things. Yeah, I can still edit them, but I can't add additional elements on the page, and I can't mess up things like template. So if we have two access mode, one would be for us developers or whoever manages the site, and the second would be for our client who doesn't really need to create complex structures. He simply needs to change his contact information. Then this mode is ideal for the client management. And this is how we launch it. So simply by triggering those things, like you could don't even need to use that page. You can create your own page, and under certain conditions enable those session variables. I think that's all about the CMS. So it's pretty complex at this point, but I think you are ready for that.
So the next thing that we would include now would be the Filestore add-on.
Yeah, well, unless there are some questions about the CMS, because I quickly went through the whole thing. Maybe there are some questions along the way.
See, Bob is typing a question, I believe.
I'll also note a couple of things like page settings. We can change the API layout and the page layout. And this is a pretty interesting thing. So if you remember, we could have a page templates. So using this, we can switch to a different page template. That means that page could have more spots than simple content. And similarly with the API, we can change the whole template for the API. Again, I just need to specify the values here, and they will work. If at some point you do mess this page up, that means you won't be able to return here. This is why manage screen is for, so you can always come back here and restore the values back to how they were.
So Bob has a question now. Can it be on a page with form, so existing page, and on top use a CMS article? Absolutely.
Let's take one of our pages. Let's say, okay, welcome. Now it's nice. Welcome page has some dynamic content, and see if we could enable CMS there. So basically just boils down to where we extend it from. CMS core. Let's see if this works. And now, yes, we create this page. Now it's also in database. We still see the dynamic content in here, and we can mash it with some content of our own. That's it.
And that gives a nice possibility to mix the content of a dynamic page with some kind of static content that is then served from the CMS.
Yeah, that's right. So we could go to list pages, and some pages might have even multiple regions, and we take full advantage of that in the CMS. So CMS will automatically find all the spots and will offer you to add the components inside there.
Does that answer your question, Bob? Great.
Okay, I will quickly look inside, just in case we run out of time. CMS Text, a really simple CMS implementation for showing tests. You saw how it works. So what this is the implementation. We need to define two functions. First is configure fields. Each CMS component has internal model, like that. And I simply add fields. It will handle the saving and loading of the model, and also will integrate with the form. So I just say that we need a text field which supports HTML. And the second one, configure, this is about the displaying. So to display this component, it will add a text inside a destination spot, and the tag needs to be used like that. And we will set the text to the value from our model now. And this is really the same implementation here. There is also CRUDs, which is really curious. Let me quickly add CRUD. Test CRUD. And let's create that. Okay, and we can edit now test CRUD. It offers us selection of the country. Let's say we need item, paginate, grid fields, form fields, can edit, can add. Let's say user can, let's just leave it by default. And we have a CRUD with ability to see items. Let me enable the adding option, and now we have an add button. So you can actually add something into this CRUD. How much this component takes to develop? CMS CRUD. So it defines, it's longer. In the configuration, it defines all these fields, defines data types. It also uses this method for finding models. So it shows us the drop down. And then when configuration is done, it simply creates the CRUD and configures it with the pagination and other things as necessary. And that's it. So pretty convenient way to add something. All right, let's move on to the next topic, unless there are some more questions.
One more question.
Yeah.
Chris would like to know if we can soft delete with a CRUD in CMS as well.
Yeah, well, once you define the model with a soft delete, it's going to be a system-wide soft delete. So anywhere you're using that, it's soft delete. Okay, good. So next on to the file store. Okay, sometimes with the file store, similarly, it takes maybe a bit of effort to install it. Luckily, Filestore is supplied in our addons folder right away. So if I go inside here, there is a Filestore, yeah, over there. And if we look inside lib, then we have a couple of classes. What's not included at the moment, but it's someplace else, is the schema for the file store. And again, it's my I overlooked that, and I'll add it probably after this screencast. So I need to go IDK addons and MISC and docs, and this here we have a file called Filestore. Let me show you what's inside. So just a couple of create scripts and also populating the default values. Post and found. Okay, I have imported that. I will verify that the tables are created successfully. Okay, they're here. Now, in order to install Filestore, let's see, I'll just check if there is this guide there. Yeah, so there's documentation in Filestore, which give us some introduction, how to configure file types, and so on and so on. So what is Filestore in a nutshell? Filestore stores the meta information about the files you are uploading to the system. As you can see, you have a table for storing files. To hold a types, then just switch to content here. So the types, allowed types, which allowed to store is PNG, JPEGs, and GIFs. And also it is possible to define volumes where the file is going to be residing. It is necessary to create the folder with the same name as defined in here. So I have a folder called upload, and I also have the right permission for my Apache user to store files in here. I delete everything inside, so it's an empty folder for now. And the next thing which I usually do when I set up the file store, it is to set up the Fileadmin. And it looks like I have already created the page in a very similar fashion how we did with a CMS. It simply creates a page, Fileadmin, which extends from the class defined in an add-on. That's how it looks. Let me also go into the front end, and since we have managed CMS, I'll also add manage files. Oops. Okay, now we have that also in the menu bar. So if admin user logs in, he will see this here. A bit of explanation what it is. So file types, again, we don't want users to upload exe files or zip files. That's why we will be checking the MIME type, and we'll be searching for the type inside allowed file types. If not, we will not permit the upload. This thing is storages, basically. That's the folder we just we have created, and I think it doesn't take this flag in account anyway. But the idea here, you can create multiple. If you have multiple volumes on your hard drive and you have lots of files, you can distribute that upload across multiple volumes. And below you will see as files appear. And here is just a test, so I can take, let's say I take this file over here, upload it, and now it's stored in Filestore. I don't need to do anything else, so when the upload is finished, the file will automatically become a part of the Filestore. It stores the original file name. This is the actual location, which I can also confirm from the command line. Yeah, there it is. It also stores the size, whether or not file was deleted, and name of the folder, so upload. And this is the URL. This is a calculated field, but it shows me the URL which I can use in links and so on. So if I type it here, I see this is actually coming from the server. Okay, So next thing is how do we integrate with this? And we have a page which is called report an item. Nice, we have autocompletes here. Also, when we're reporting an item, always it's useful to have an image as well. So let's add a field here for specifying an image. Okay, we need to put that in. Oh yeah, in terms of database, in order to link items and files, it's a very complex problem, I have to say. In many projects, they being solved in many different ways. Sometimes people store files inside the SQL, awful. Sometimes people store inside the files and then have a field like file name or something. In our case, if you need any record to be linked with the file or have a file attached, you need to add a field called files, whatever, doesn't matter how, let's say image ID, which is going to be int, and it also need to have relation to, I don't know how to organize relations here. I can do it with my SQL workbench, but not with this tool. But it's not obligatory anyway. So this ID will hold the ID of this table. Okay. So the concept. I hope the concept is clear. So the files are stored separately, and the records which use files simply refer to the file ID. Now, we need to add this inside our model. So model item needs to have this field. The question is how we define this field. And this is where our new type of field comes in. So as you probably know already, whenever I call add field, the new object of type field is created. If I call add expression, then there is a expression class, basically this class, which is being created. Now, if I'm adding file, there is a separate file type, which is called field file. There's no function to work as a proxy. That is why we need to simply use add. And here I need to specify a namespace first, Filestore, field file. Okay, and that is all. So let me go to admin now. Oh yes, and I need to specify the name, which is image ID, I think. Okay, now if I go to item admin and try to add a new item, there is this special field for uploading an image. Well, I'm not going to use that. Let's say I want to change the umbrella, and I would like to specify a field. So I'm picking this. It uploads. It says success. When I click save, you see it also it is linked to the record number 2. If I click edit, it will remain here unless I delete it. So what happens now? Basically, as you know, forms in Agile Toolkit are using Ajax to submit themselves. They sends our plain data. The file, however, is uploaded not inside the form, but separately. So it uses separate communication with the backend and with that upload field to upload the file, which allows us to upload file before the field actually, before the form actually is being submitted. One other thing, let me do. Oh, but let's see. Before we had trouble if we specified this as a true. Okay, never mind that. Okay, so when I select the file is being uploaded slowly. When it's finished, it is displayed here, and there is also a hidden field where the image ID is stored. So when I click Save, the form receives not the file itself, but an image ID from the Filestore. That means even if I upload the file and I don't hit Save, it's not going to appear here, but if I go into Manage Files, you will see that that file was actually uploaded. Well, that's the way how it is implemented. If you can enhance it and then make it somewhat more suitable to your own needs, it's possible. So all of these classes you can actually extend and modify as much as you want. Plus you can create your own add-ons, so you can fork any of the add-ons and create your own file store, and maybe people would rather use your file store.
Bob has a good question. When I click Save before the file has been completely uploaded, what will happen then?
It will not pick the file. So one of the problems with having in the projects is while the file is being uploaded, if the user clicks Save, he basically loses the file. And the way how we get around that is we're setting the file store field a mandatory field. And I'll show you how to do it. Let's say we have a report an item here. And I will open a report page here. And image ID. So now we also need to specify the file. Okay. And let's say form get I don't remember how I could do that. Okay, so let's see what happens now. What does it mean? Yeah, let's look inside form get image ID. So it will show us when I click the submit. It will show us that that value is null. If I do pick the file and then click submit, then there is 4. So basically, what I need to do is check the value of this. If I'm not sure why the default validation is not working. Form I don't remember how the method is called. Yeah, I'm right this time. Okay, image ID, select file. Okay, so now if the file is not fully uploaded, I will have this error message. Also, if he uploads
So the error message could also say like wait until file has been completely uploaded or something like that.
We do want to improve the way how it works at some point, but again, because it's sort of an add-on, if you decide you would like to help us out and build a better file uploader, that would help us a lot. Let me also show you what happens if I upload incompatible file. Okay, that is a PDF file here.
अब ऑन हो गया ऑन है ऑफ है
कैमरा ऑन है तुम्हारा.
Okay, so I tried to upload a PDF file and it says that the file type is not allowed to upload. So that's this internal check. for allowed types. Again, you can, if you go inside the models, the add-ons are really simple to understand. So read add-ons, and you will see how you can enable automatic creation of file types. For example, if you want all the file types to be allowed, you can extend your model structure to use that. Okay. So that's files. Let me note one other thing. I will go back to the CMS, edit article, and you see there is already integration with the Filestore here. Let's see if that would work. Okay, so I managed to upload the file, and if I click add, it kind of places there. Probably something incorrect with the path. Okay, maybe it doesn't like because I have it in a subfolder. But again, you can look inside the details here. What is the image? Okay, I don't know how this works. I don't like this what you see is what you get editor anyway. So I try not to use it myself. Okay, we have a question from Bob. Can you add the file manually to the file store? Absolutely. So the file really is just a model. We are working with the same model. It has a number of fields, blah, blah, blah. You can create a new model entry. And there is a method called import. Okay, what is it? Import. And there's even some explanation to it. So you define source and the mode. So source would be the path where the file is located. So if you need to integrate it from the email, I suppose it is some sort of temporary folder, and in here you need to specify: would you like to move the file? Would you like to copy the file? Or if upload is specified, then the special function, some move uploaded file, is used to place it inside the file store. And next time you are saving, so next time you save, it will actually put the file inside the file store. Another thing, as I mentioned already, it defines the thing called URL, expression for URL. So if you want to show the file name, basically that means we're going back to the list of items here. Lost items. Okay, so there's an umbrella, but there's no item. How do I add a thumbnail in here? Well, let's see. So first, we might need to go to the item list. What is the item list page? Okay, I think it uses this lister. List items, and this is a template. So okay, let's have description. Let's say image URL and style. Okay, nothing gonna happen now. I mean, we should have an item there. That's weird. Okay, let me find where this page is. Items list. Oh yeah, I see that the problem is it's in the wrong location. Okay. Will it work now? Yes, there is an image, but the source is empty. So now we need to have this field populated inside here. And there are two ways to do it. One is when we're iterating and formatting row, somehow we can, suppose, traverse this. And this is a bad way to do it. But let's try anyway. This ref image ID get URL. Let's just see if this works. This model. Why is it not showing at all? I see. Sorry. My bad again. Okay. So it does have some. It does put the path in there. Hangouts lost and found. No, this has to say Hangouts lost and found, upload 0, and this image. Maybe the floating is a bad idea. I don't know. No one told me. No one noticed. Okay, anyway, we have image. So the reason why the image wasn't showing is because I did the parameter incorrect. But that's one way. So the downside of this approach is inside the performance. So inside the iteration here, which is executed as many types as we have items, we need to call reference, which loads the model and gets this field every time. There is a better solution apart from this, and it is if we inside the item model define an expression which will traverse it and select it. Well, set. Okay, that's our standard way of having this. And FSQL item ID and oh, I don't know. Let's see. Oops, not item ID, but image. And we need to use, this is a new method, so it's only available in a Git version of Agile Toolkit. And the code field query, I think. Okay, now the effect is the same. So we have image here with a proper URL, but this time we did the whole thing with a single select. Let me just confirm that by doing debug mode. Okay, so you can see that the URL in here is being defined as this subselect. Where did it start? Here. Yeah, so it selects the concat of the prefix, which is defined in the configuration file and detected with the name of the folder and joined with the file name. And then it goes, yeah, so it goes on up to here. And this is the suggested way. This is the way you should use inside your application. So it is a really nice way how you can show the image and still have it.
Bob just asked why there are two select statements, and I think it's because we had two items there.
Because we have found items and lost items, and they are technically they are on the same page, so they're just tabs, and that's why it was.
Yes, they're just tabs.
Okay, there were some additional questions. Can you save the file to a remote server instead of the local web server? I'm guessing you just have to define the remote location in the model. Yes, it is possible, and it is simply an enhancement to how we import things. Well, here's the typical implementation scenario, for example, for Amazon S3. So we upload a file normally to the server because it's most convenient for user to upload the file. So we still use this, and then some sort of background process kicks in and re-uploads the file into the CDN, and now the file it still is in the file store. The meta information hasn't changed, but this URL field is now different. So what you need to do is extend Filestore file, this over here. As you can see, there's a function get URL expression. So you need to redefine this function, and this function will be more complex. It will check if file have been uploaded to the CDN, and if it had, then it needs to return a full URL to the CDN instead. And that's pretty much all. Okay, let's have some additional questions, see if we have any more questions. Imans, probably just go ahead and ask now, because we simply won't be able to finish everything as usual. But maybe next Hangout we will finish. Okay, can you, Armin, do you want to read?
Yes. Can you please look at my pull requests in ATK4 branch? Also, in ATK4 web, there are multiple pull requests from different people. It's not a real question.
Yeah, okay, I will look at that. Okay, CSS files. Yeah, so what is done incorrectly with the CMS? Well, let me look at this controller. So that's a controller which we're including, and inside the controller, as you see, what he's doing is he adding the condition, but he assumes that his addon is located inside ambient/cms. As you remember, it's not there, it's inside ambient underscore addons, sorry, ambient-addons/cms. So it needs to do it properly and use the proper folder in here. And there's another add-on called grid order, which is a good example of how to do these locations. So I can simply move it over here. So first of all, we need to locate ourselves, and instead of grid order, I'll use namespace, because namespace pretty much matches the add-on, and it will return the location. Next, we also need to locate the path to ourselves. Like it's not really the most sexiest way here. And then we need, we need to put all of these inside. And as a parent, we set the location here. So the way how Pathfinder works, it needs to specify, you need to specify the folder to him, but also you need to specify what is the parent location, and then it can kind of construct the URLs and do everything else. And I will delete the last stuff I have here. Okay, let me go to the CMS test, make sure it still works more or less. And in the front end, I will delete these lines. So, okay, because addon does it properly now, I don't need to do it in my API anymore. I just need to include the addon and the controller. So that's the proper way how addon can include things. There is one other thing, and it's so API has a method called root pages, and it's a new method. It's not used widely yet, but it instructs the API that the pages which start with this folder, so we could instead say CMS maybe in here, the pages which are under here will be routed to the addon. So they will, instead of look inside page test, they will go, test, they will go inside addons, CMS page test, and of course the page needs to be inside the namespace CMS. So that is how it is possible to root pages as well. Okay, lots of fun does, what the hell? I will not say that. Okay. Autocomplete. I don't remember what we did on autocomplete. I think we did the same thing on autocomplete. So really, these paths can be that do not necessarily need to be defined inside the API. So if we include the field from the addon, then only that field could be used. Okay, yeah, we have created this last time, and if you remember, we added the dependency for JavaScript file, so that works as well. Where should I put the exact name of my CSS file? Once you add a location like that, you operate with JavaScript files or CSS files in exactly the same way how you do in your original folder. And the result static include, so the files are included through the JQ component, Hold on, let me find a good example for this. Well, this is not a very good example, but basically this is HTML component which shows us ELRT, LRT, and it tries to do it like this. It's not very nice way. Instead, it should do f API add static style sheet and simply list the file here. That would be the better way. But we can see if it still works. Oh yes, sorry, it needs to be JQ. Or jQuery. What was it? Yeah, that's about it. So now we need to remove the CSS at the end because it doesn't need the CSS. Right, the reason why it's not loading properly is because we are loading this dynamically. We can try this. Yeah, that works. But not images. Okay, I'll just leave it how it is. So what you see is what you get. Editors are always a big problem, as you can see here as well. Okay, any last questions? Yeah, go ahead, Imans. Armin probably is gone. So I'll read the question myself. Is it?
Sorry, my mic was turned off. Sorry.
Okay.
Is it possible to use old-style SQL syntax like select everything from something, where something, and so on?
Yes, you can use that. And the proper way is IPDB query, and then you can type anything in here. Well, that's I mean the very low level query. Slightly better would be IPDB the SQL expression. I can show you one curious controller I was working on. And it's called Auto Creator. I announced it in the group. I haven't seen any response yet, but basically you add this controller inside your model, and it makes sure that the model is actually created in the database, and if not, it will create it for you. So in this, I'm using the DSQL with the custom expressions like that. So I define expression, but I'm still afraid that there might be something messy coming through from the table. So I define them as regions like this, and then I fill out the blanks of that query and I execute the query. So that's this is the way how you can execute custom queries using DSQL. Simply define them as expression, take advantage of fields like this, and this is available publicly, so you can go into your ATK addons folders. Let me show that in the sidebar. Lib controller auto creator under the dynamic model, so you can see there. If you're using that with the SQL, the benefit is that you can actually iterate through results if you want to. Also, I have this thing here, so called DSQL describe. That's a new method recently added. DSQL. Let's see how it's done. Yeah, so describe sets an expression, tests and a table name, and adds a custom parameter of the argument which is passed. The trick here is if we're using SQLite, there is a different syntax for describing tables, which is pragma, table info, blah, and therefore this method needs to be redefined. Okay, another question from Imant. Is it possible to create model with static date included in it, not using SQL table? For example, some simple classifier like static, you mean static data? Okay. Yes, it's possible. You could look inside GitHub. So inside the test suite, we have an index page. Okay, so that's a front end. Front end defines a class called examples, which is a list of all of our examples, and it extends the model, model. And it defines fields like name, total, success, fail, exception, blah, 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 whatever is needed. What's happening on the index page is that it adds this model example, adds grid. Oh, sorry, I don't know why it's like that. So this line is not actually needed. And then it sets the model of a grid to the example model. This is how it looks. So we have a grid and the data inside is static. And so when it was initialized, we are calling the set source array assoc and then specifying the p, which is our array, really associated array. So what you need to do if you want to have a static model, I mean the minimum, you need to create this and model. So it's, and then you can this add the grid model m. So that's the syntax how you can use the, in this case, associative array, but also potentially there could be different data things associated with the model. And join it. Okay, and join it using has1 with other SQL models. And now has1, the support of joining non-SQL model with SQL model is not fully working yet. It will be probably the focus for the next release of Agile Toolkit. But for now, you can only do relations between regular tables. What you can do is simply add the related model, and load by m related ID. So something like that would be similar to how ref is doing if you want to traverse. But we do need this in our upcoming project. We need to have a part of our model structure stored in SQL, another part stored in Mongo. So we will have to deal with those references, and it will be properly implemented in the next version of Agile Toolkit. And then it's any model could be either an array or inside a SQL or anywhere else. SQL supports joins, and again, as with Traverse, it will properly load model from the proper source. Okay, so any questions from anyone else? Chris, any questions from you? Lost in the web? Kambar, any questions? All right, thanks for participating, and I will see you all next week. As usual, please tell me what you would like to hear next week. Whether it will be the creating of custom thing for custom component for the CMS or anything else. Just use the comments in here, Agile Toolkit Hangout, and all right, Kambar, one question.
Yeah, I was wondering, how do we create like multi-level menus in CMS in Agile Toolkit?
That would be a custom component. So exactly how you would create a multi-level menu without Agile Toolkit. It's just you need to wrap it up inside this component thingy.
Okay. Can we like go through it in the next screencast?
For the I don't know. There is actually well, let's see what there is. CMS menu. So this is some sort of menu implementation, but I think it uses the default menu. So we can add default menu using the CMS and simply define menu items. Okay, so it is actually in text, and we need to separate them with a new line. Yeah, I mean that's it. But if you would like to have a multi-level, so you need to create. Okay, let's talk about that next time.
Okay.
Multi-menu. What is multi-menu? Yeah, there is a multi-menu thing. Okay. My suggestion: if any of you are building any add-ons, create some screenshots and more documentation for your add-ons. Just put them somewhere for now. We will decide how we would like to organize them later on.